Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. One of the most exciting things that's going to happen today is supposedly the announcement of the new Sony a6100. So the replacement for the Sony a6000, which is a very popular camera, very capable little camera at a great price too. So the new a6100, according to Mirrorless Rumors, they've got a source that says the announcement's going to come today, and it's going to be a 32 megapixel BSI sensor, so a backlit sensor. Which should be pretty amazing performance, and 32 megapixels, so stepping up quite a bit from the 24 and the a6000. That is very interesting. Always happy to have more megapixels if we're not taking a performance loss for them. In other words, high ISO or acuity or clarity or things like that, or dynamic range. It's got the 5-axis IBIS, the IBIS image stabilization system, which is pretty much seems to be about the best on the market right now. Originally, I think, come over from Olympus. Sony has it now in, what was the one they just had out? I guess it was the A7R Mark II, I think. And so really impressive that this is coming down to the Sony a6100. Impressive. I'm be very interested to see how this works. They're saying much better ISO. And I could see that with the BSI sensor because we've seen that in the previous camera with the BSI sensor. So that'll be impressive. Not only are we going to 32 megapixels, much better ISO. 4K. So built-in 4K, which is great because the a6000 didn't have it, and I love having my 4K. So you'll have that right in the body, and from what I understand, without needing any attachments, it'll just be an inherent feature of the 6100. 285 PDAF points. So in other words, 285 AF points. So a better autofocus system. We can expect a better, more accurate autofocus system, hopefully faster too. Also, it's got a new EVF. So we can probably expect better resolution and a more accurate, I mean, they seem to always be making these things better every time. The EVFs are awesome nowadays. You know, some of the earlier ones people complained. Now I'd rather have an EVF than an optical viewfinder. What else we got? 14.5 frames per second. That's pretty quick. That's pretty decent for a 32 megapixel crop sensor camera. Very nice. It says smaller than the a6000 and less weight. I'm always happy with smaller and lighter. Well, I shouldn't say always. Sometimes you can get a little too small. But hey, it was a nice camera to begin with, and just a tad smaller and a little bit lighter, I'm happy with that. It's always, like, I love my G7, my Panasonic G7, because it does everything I need, and it's small and light. Still big enough that I got some knobs and big enough for my hands, not too small. We'll see what the a6100 is like in the hand. That'll be interesting. It's got a mic input, which was great. I can't remember if the 6000 did or not, but a mic input is very handy to have. I mean, sure, you can sync your video up, you know, using another device, a Zoom or whatnot afterwards, but it's always handy to have a mic input to plug in a mic, plug in some wirelesses, to plug in whatever you need for audio. It's a nice feature to have. And apparently, you know, it's only going to come in black, which is fine. Mostly I always buy black cameras. So what do we have there? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spec features there. So 10 things about the a6100, which apparently we'll find out today. So this may be a premature video to do it on the day of, just before the announcement. But anyways, I just want to say, if they're anything close to this looks like a great camera. The a6100 looks like it's a great update to the a6000. Hopefully it hits these points, and we'll find out soon. What do you guys think? Are those specs things that you think are good updates, or does it make you much more interested in the 6100? Would you spend more on the new 6100 rather than get a deal on the 6000, which those will for sure be around, whether used or clearing out the stock of the a6000? Leave some comments below. Let's discuss the a6100. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com. Thanks.